Every once in a while, a preacher breaks through and catches the attention of the public on a national level. Joel Osteen has done that. As we first reported back in October, he's the most popular preacher in the country. His services seen by over 7 million viewers on TV every week. 9 years ago, Osteen was virtually unknown, even in his own church in Houston. A college dropout, he worked behind the scenes, producing his father, Pastor John Osteen's television ministry. When his father died, he stepped out in front of the camera and started to catch on. So why are so many people flocking to Joel Osteen?
Turn it around, open the windows of heaven.
Osteen's service is an uninhibited celebration that's part rock concert, part spectacular. There are no crosses, no religious symbols whatsoever. It's all taped and broadcast around the world. His service is seen in 100 foreign countries and is the most watched religious broadcast in America.
You get 10 or 15,000 people that are excited about God. They're from every race and every denomination and every background. They want to be here. They weren't drugged to come to church. And so there's something about that. It creates an attitude of expectancy. And we cheer and we shout and there's joy. And I try to leave them better off than they were before.
They come by the thousands to non-denominational Lakewood Church, a former basketball arena in Houston, Texas, filling it to the rafters. They come hungry to hear firsthand Joel Osteen's message of empowerment and inspiration.
My message is a message of hope, that God is a good God, and that no matter what we've done, where we've been, God has a great plan for our lives, and when we walk in His ways, that He'll take us places we've never dreamed of.
Can you give the Lord another shout of praise today?
Osteen preaches his own version of what's known as the prosperity gospel, that God is a loving, forgiving God who will reward believers with health, wealth, and happiness. It's the centerpiece of every sermon.
I want you to get a bigger vision. There are exciting things in your future. Your future is filled with marked moments of blessing, increase, promotion. God has already ordained before the foundation of the world the right people, the right opportunity, time and chance are coming together for you. Why don't you get your hopes up? Why don't you start believing that no matter what you have or haven't done, that your best days are still out in front of you?
It's an appealing, comforting message, and he follows it up with advice.
If you're not making as much progress as you would like, here's the key: don't lose any ground. Keep a good attitude and do the right thing even when it's hard. When you do that, you are passing the test. And God promises your marked moments are on their way.
You said, I like to see myself as a life coach, a motivator to help them experience the life that God has for them. People don't like to be beat down and told, you've done wrong. What do you mean?
Well, I think that most people already know what they're doing wrong. And for me to get in here and just beat them down and talk down to them, I just don't think that inspires anybody to rise higher. But I want to motivate. I want to motivate every person to leave here to be a better father, a better husband, to break addictions, to come up higher and to walk with the Lord.
I mean, is that being a pastor or is that being Dr. Phil or Oprah?
No, I think we use God's Word. I think the principles that you hear Dr. Phil and some of those others talk about many times are right out of the Bible.
Do you ever fear with this message of optimism, you may be misleading some people, that some people think, well, gee, if I just think positive things, my life will turn around? And for some people, that never happens.
Yeah, I don't fear it because we don't just teach that, because I teach that even in the tough times, you have to embrace where you are, know that God's given you the strength to overcome. You can even be positive in a negative situation, and it'll help you to stay filled with hope.
3 years ago, his ministry got so big, the Osteens moved into this 16,000-seat sports arena.
So tell me again, how much money have you spent?
It's about $100 million to renovate the whole place, yeah.
Why doesn't this look more like a church?
Hopefully it'll look more and more like churches around the country.
Osteen and his wife of 21 years, Victoria, who co-pastors Lakewood with him, took us on a tour of what they call their worship facility.
The ceiling changes colors.
Isn't that neat?
Isn't that
And it
beautiful?
changes during the songs or however we program it.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like Hollywood stuff. Now, do you call this, do you call
The
this a
podium.
pulpit?
We used to call it a podium.
No? Pulpit is an old school kind of.
Yeah, I would say podium.
This does have a concert feel to it.
It does.
Does that distract from the message?
I don't think so. I think it helps people be engaged.
Engaged and generous. Osteen can afford all this because of the money the church brings in. But he doesn't solicit contributions on television.
Why don't you ask for money during your television broadcast?
We didn't want anything to distract people when they were watching to try to turn off the message. Because we know how people are skeptical of TV ministers. Hey, there's a guy who just wants my money, that's what. I didn't want any of that.
But you do want their money.
Well, we need people to support us or we can't stay on, but we don't get on there and ask for it. And it's amazing how people can see that when you're genuine, they send money.
Buckets of money. Over $43 million a year gets collected in the church. Another $30 million or so comes in the mail. It's a cash cow and a family business. Osteen's brother, sister, and mother are ministers in the church. But the real money for Osteen comes from his book sales, which are repackaged versions of his sermons. His latest book, Become a Better You, for which he reportedly got a $13 million advance, debuted in October at #1 on the New York Times bestseller list and is on the list today. The book lays out 7 principles Osteen believes will improve our lives.
To become a better you, you must be positive towards yourself, develop better relationships, embrace the place where you are.
Yeah.
Not one mention of God in that, not one mention of Jesus Christ in that.
That's just my message. There is scripture in there that backs it all up, but I feel like, Byron, I'm called to help people. How do we walk out the Christian life? How do we live it? And these are principles that can help you. I mean, if there's a lot better people qualified to say, here's a book that's going to explain the scriptures to you. I don't think that's my gifting. Good to see you.
Wherever he goes, people tell Osteen that he helps them.
Hey, how you doing?
Thank you so much
Thank you.
for what you do. You've changed my whole life.
Oh, I'm so glad it's hell. God bless you. Thank you. Thank you. God bless
She's
you.
Roman Catholic. I'm Jewish. We listen every Sunday
Well,
night.
thank you.
Shake hands.
Oh, my
Thank
God.
you.
Very happy to see you.
Thank you.
But many theologians from mainstream churches find Osteen's message misleading and shallow.
I think it's a cotton candy gospel.
Reverend Michael Horton is a professor of theology at Westminster Seminary in Escondido, California.
His core message is God is nice, you're nice, be nice. It's sort of if it were a form of music, I think it would be easy listening. He uses the Bible like a fortune cookie. This is what's going to happen for you. There's going to be a windfall in your life tomorrow. The Bible's not meant to be read that way.
Reverend Horton believes Osteen tells only half the story of the Bible, focusing on the good news without talking about sin, suffering, and redemption. And Reverend Horton goes even further. He levels the harshest charge of all, calling the Osteen method of teaching heresy.
It is certainly heresy, I believe, to say that God is our resource for getting our best life now.
Because
Well, it makes religion about us instead of about God.
there are a lot of people in this country, religious people, who consider your theology dangerous.
I don't know what can be so dangerous about giving people hope, causing people to have better relationships. I'm not leading them to some false god or something like that.
Hear what some others have said about you. He's diluting and dumbing down the Christian message.
Sometimes you have to keep it simple and not make it so complicated that people don't understand. But I know what I'm called to do is say, I want to help you learn how to forgive today. I want to help you to have the right thoughts today. Just simple things.
So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down.
You get people that want to criticize you're not doing enough of this, enough of that. Well, we're not perfect. But to have, hundreds of people telling you, you changed my life. I hadn't been in church in 30 years, or you saved my marriage, and not me, but God. But they're telling me, but you know what? You can't help but leave every Sunday afternoon.
Help me understand what's happening right now, Joe.
You know, what it is you just feel very told you I was a crybaby, but you just feel very rewarded. You feel very humbled.
Humbled by your success?
Humbled that you could help impact somebody's life. I think, I don't even know these people. And, you know, and God used me to help turn their life around or give them hope. And, you know, it's very rewarding.
You in awe of that?
Very much.
Hut, 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 go.
Osteen keeps his life simple. His best friends are his family. He spends most of his free time with them, especially his two children, Alexandra and Jonathan. But from Wednesday to Saturday, he's in his home office, writing and memorizing his sermon.
I feel a responsibility more than ever now. You know, sometimes when I think about it, Sunday in a few days, and I got to get back up here and feed everybody and be my best and inspire them and have some good stories, keep them listening and things. You know, it takes a lot of work, takes diligence.
You can see that same diligence in his workouts. Osteen can bench press 300 pounds. That's twice his body weight. And on the basketball court, even in the simplest of pickup games, he is focused, determined, and looking for help from above.
What was that last shot, man? What was that last shot?
That last shot? That last shot was a prayer.
Joel Osteen is currently in negotiations with a major network to anchor a primetime reality series based on the inspirational themes of his Sunday sermons. The show will originate from Lakewood Church and tell the stories of ordinary people meeting extraordinary challenges.